Hi, I'm Steph Hinton from Get to the Roots and the Florida Folk Show on Radio St. Pete, Sunshine 96.7 FM, WMTB LP St. Petersburg. I'm here with Willow Hughes of Holistic Hippie Vibes in Tampa Bay and Sara Syms, a visionary singer and songwriter. Before we start, I want to thank Michael and Leah of Qualifier and, of course, the Power Hour for connecting Radio St. Pete with both Willow and Sara here today. We also have two new songs in our Radio St. Pete catalog, thanks to Miss Sara Syms. Inside the Surrender and Carried Away. You'll hear them here on our station and on radiostpete.com. Welcome, guys.
Thank you for
Hello.
having us.
Agree. It's nice to be here.
So when I first got the email from Leah, she was like, oh, they do like healing through folk music. And I was like, oh, that's so awesome, because getting to be part of the Florida Folk Show and then doing Get to the Roots, which is in full support of the Florida Folk Show, there definitely feels like this like wonderful energy in a lot of folk music. It really comes from the heart. So for each of you, your overall mission or goal with healing through folk music, like what does that mean to you, or what does that look like? I would like to ask Sara first and then ask Willow.
Yeah, I feel like my music definitely spans a lot of genres, but just in general, like my mission of healing through music is definitely to create a space where where we can be vulnerable and also empower people. I think that in general, folk music has like a raw, unfiltered ability to be storytelling, to tell stories that resonate, deeply with human experiences. And I think for me, it's about helping people feel seen and understood. I've definitely struggled a lot with my mental health and trauma and grief over the years. And I want my music to be written from a place of healing, not only for myself, but for others, and to serve as a bridge kind of between the darkness and the shadow parts of ourselves that we don't like and the light. So I think, it's really like music, my own music journey has definitely transcended and come to this place where I even took like a 4-year hiatus from it because it was serving a very toxic place in my life. And for something that is so cathartic and special and healing to me, I really needed to kind of redirect it to what its purpose was. And the last couple albums, the two songs that you have that are I Love You, Keep Going, which were all songs that I wrote while I was in residential treatment myself. And the album prior to that, which is called The Darkest Light, which is all about, this sense that we live in a world of dualities. We can't have the darkness without the light. And a lot of times we find a lot of our gifts and a lot of the light from going through the darkness. So that's really, I hope to inspire people through my music to confront the parts of themselves that they hide away from, and then how we can use creativity as a tool for self-discovery and transformation.
And you do it beautifully. Like your songs, the quality is fantastic. Your voice is wonderful. It does have that rawness to it that makes it more folk music like, which can be so refreshing in this world of just like over produced music. So I really loved hearing that ring out in your recordings.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Okay, Willow, same question for your overall mission and goal for healing through folk music, and if that doesn't apply, just with your company, Holistic Hippie Vibes.
Thank you so much. So first and foremost, I do want to send out to just let the community of St. Pete and Tampa Bay know that we are holding you in our hearts and in our prayers. And we do know that this is a very difficult time for everybody. So between now and October 12th, all of my clinicians are offering 30-minute sessions for those that were affected by this hurricane. So I want to put that out there. And, we can book a sound session. So that's what I do with sound. I use the somatics of sound. So what a lot of people don't realize is the vibrations that come from the instruments, whether it's Sarah's guitar or my sound bowls or my didgeridoo or the drums, the shakers, all of those things, they put out an energy, and that energy is a vibration. And inside the body, because we are about 80% water and liquid, if you see, vibrations will actually move liquid. If I were to put water in my singing bowls and then play my singing bowls, you would actually see a pattern forming within the bowls. So that's actually happening, whether it's from a guitar, whatever instrument. So and that is moving inside our body. So that is regenerating our cells, and that is actually helping us to heal from the somatic side of our trauma. So that's what I do. I am a sound healer.
That's beautiful. And so a follow-up question. So for you, what is the most important part important part to you for offering holistic wellness to others? And then an addendum to that, like, how do you balance that with maintaining offering peace, light, and love to all that you encounter?
Oh, thank you for asking. So my motto is peace, light, and love because so when I was in my trauma, I definitely didn't have any peace. I felt like there was no light, like Sarah said. I felt, we do have both, but I felt so much in the dark at that time, and I didn't love myself. So I really believe that any type of healing, no matter what it's from, whether it's physical, emotional, that if we start from a place of self-love, then we have a much better chance at recovery. We're never going to fully heal from our mental health and our trauma, but we begin to accept the dark side of us and bring a balance to it, almost like the yin and the yang. So we begin to nurture that part of us and make peace with it. And through that, without judgment, we begin to develop more peaceful life. And we get a more peaceful life because we start to love ourselves and we start to set boundaries and we start to remove the toxicity that has been within our environment. So much like a plant, our environment and makes a strong difference on whether we thrive or whether we don't. And, if we can put ourselves in good soil and have a strong environment around us where we're getting the things that we need, then we can grow strong and healthy. And part of that is kind words and love. And, the plant experiment, I've done it with clients and it works. And so, yeah, I
That's
hope that answers.
awesome. It does. It does. Okay, so I'm gonna redirect back to Miss Sarah here. So
Yeah.
you talked about the inspiration for how you incorporate kind of like the shadow self or the darkness to find the light, in part of what inspired you. But for your path to spread this healing message, what inspired you to do music specifically?
Well, music's something I've always done. I always joke that like I came out of the womb singing, and I started playing piano and violin when I was 5 years old. I was kind of the kid that did everything. My mom had me in a lot of different activities, and I kind of coined my growing up as like me being a little bit like a show pony. But I'm very grateful to her that, I got all those experiences because music is something that I know is, a big part of me being put on this earth and what my purpose is. I think that fear has been a big part, like I was also internationally competitive figure skater. So I have the competition and I have like that kind of, really geared me up to a lot of things that I've been moving through, like perfectionism and being a people pleaser and like, all these things that I had to kind of overcome in my own healing journey. And I think that one thing I just wanted to really quickly touch upon was what Willow was saying in terms of like holistic wellness. I think music for me is definitely a big part of it, but it's just one part. And so like as we are moving through life as humans, it's hard to be a human, there's a lot that's coming at us, and it's not just like one thing. So even when I went into treatment, I spent a summer in residential treatment, and it was very important that it was a holistic wellness place. It was a heart-centered trauma, like heart-focused trauma center. And, healing is all about physical, emotional, mental, spiritual. It's like a crystal. It's like all these different sides, or facets of us. There's this one thing that I do on a daily basis, and I try and do it with some of my clients. And it's really just like a check-in when we wake up in the morning to scan our body and see how we're feeling physically, emotionally, mentally, and spiritually, because these are four very specific things that, it's not just one thing. Like if you went to the doctor and you're like, I'm not feeling well, it's not really thinking about it holistically to say, oh, it's this one thing. Like there's so many other things that affect it. So I think for me, music is a large part of my healing, but there's so many things that surround it. And so, I think that what I love that like Willow does with sound healing and, just thinking of other things. You don't have to be a singer-songwriter. You don't have to play an instrument in order for music to, be a tool for transformation. There are things that you can listen to, like different vibrations and different frequency sounds. You can listen to very specifically to the lyrics in a song and, see how that resonates and what comes up for you. A lot of times, if if you're like really not in a good space mentally, the words can be really distracting. So taking a break and trying to listen to maybe something that is, doesn't have any words, if it's instrumental, or let's say you really love rock or metal music, but for some reason, like you want something a little bit different or to get out of your comfort zone, you might try listening to classical music and some different things might come up for you there. So I just think that there's so much that music can bring from a holistic standpoint into our healing. And for me, the fear side of it was that music's always something I've done, but I was kind of trapped behind a corporate career. I was a creative director for 20 years. And while I really do enjoy being creative, and I did love that, I felt like I held on to that career too long because it was what I was supposed to do. It was, financially responsible of me to do that. And really what I wanted to do and what I'm doing now is I left that, and that's very scary, but now I have dove like 100% full force into my music and being a mental health advocate and, being an agent for change to break the stigma and use music as a tool to help people, whether it's mental health or addiction or recovery, that, we can really, I want to help people. So that's kind of like the path that, music's always been there for me. But really in the past year and change is when I was like, I can't have any more distractions. This is really when I want to put my heart and soul into and spend all my time doing it.
Wow, that's awesome. I definitely get from both of you that helping others is very important, and that's beautiful. I also want to touch on something you said. You were just on such a great role. So you said when you wake up, you check your body spiritually,
So
emotionally.
it's called PEMS. I do it like, so it's easy to remember. So it's PEMS. So it's physically, how am I feeling physically? So that could be like, I have a headache. I'm tired. Emotionally, I, maybe am feeling a little sad. And you can feel multiple emotions, right? But you're really just checking in with your body, because a lot of times I think we live in a world and a society where everything is very thought we're in our heads too much. Everything is very analytical, and we need to get into our bodies a little bit more. So this check-in is really helping you get into your body. So emotionally, what's coming up for you? Mentally, are you with it? Are you feeling scattered? Are you, overloaded? And then spiritually, no matter what you believe in, what your higher power is, do you feel connected? Do you feel connected to the earth? Do you feel connected to community? Maybe you don't. Maybe you're having a spiritual crisis, but it's really just like getting to know yourself better. And so I do this daily PEMS check-in. So it's physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual. And it can take literally 3 minutes while you're laying in bed and you wake up and you just do a body scan and you're like, how am I doing today? And then you're just getting to know yourself a little bit better on a daily basis. And that is where what Willow was saying, that really taps into the self-worth and the self-love and understanding ourselves at a deeper level.
That's awesome. That's so cool. I love this so much. I must just say,
Thank you.
I totally love this. So I'm going to ask Willow, so how did you two meet and how did you guys start working together?
Okay, so it was the beauty of social media. So Sarah and I, we are both in that healing algorithm on TikTok. And so we actually met through the TikTok app, and just from doing that. So then we met last year. So over time, we just started becoming friends, and then I started to get to know her a little bit more, and I started bringing her in professionally to actually, I would have clients sign releases to bring her into sessions. She has spoke with my clients in individual sessions and then also group sessions to be able to share the love of music and share what she does. So from there, I am just now in my relaunch of my business, and she just got her life coaching certification. So now she is 100% on board with Holistic Hippie Vibes as one of our life coaches. Because it is very important to me that my one-on-one clinicians all have degrees in the helping field or certifications. So currently, I am a master's level therapist. Dimash is master's level, and Sarah is a certified life coach. And I have a certified Reiki master as well. So if they're doing the holistic stuff, I am looking for the certification. So, and I am looking for a yoga instructor. So,
All right. Anyone listening, if you instruct yoga or would like to learn how to instruct yoga, please contact Willow Hughes at Holistic Hippie Vibes in Tampa Bay, Florida. Little plug there.
yeah, just go right to my website.
Yes. So all of this, so coming on the sessions, was that digitally, like just through?
Yes. Yes.
That's so cool, guys. I
Dude,
love this.
it was so amazing because Willow also works a lot with adolescents and children, and
Mhm.
I love children so much. I think they are just so magical. And from the perspective of anything that we do creatively, I mean, that is from the lens of our inner child. And I find it very fascinating that a lot of times when we're kids, maybe like when we're like preteens and teens, all we want is to grow up. We want to be adults, and we want to, just be able to like get out of this kid stuff. And then we spend most of our adult life wanting to be back where we were as children, not with the responsibilities and so the more that we get in touch with our inner child, that is where, the magic is. That is where it is, from a place of play. And I would say that most, if not all, music and art, poetry, anything is really tapping into that inner child and that wonderment, because there's no more barriers up. There's no more, limiting beliefs. Like when you're a child and you ask them what they want to be when they grow up, they're like, I want to be a mermaid. I want to be, whatever it is, like they are unstoppable. And, we get just knocked down as adults. And the more that we can start to move some of that away, the more amazing the, creative flow will be. So I
Yes.
love being able to, work from, a mental health or a spiritual or a music level with kids, because they really truly are magical beings. And every time I would get off a session with her, I'm just beaming, and I'm like, all right, that was it. That made my entire year. It was
Oh.
amazing.
Yeah, and I'm glad, Sarah, that you touched on the inner child because, Stephanie, I don't know if you know, but I do have a book that I wrote, and it is a yoga nidra guided meditation, and it's called Fairy Fantasy. And this can be for children or adults, because, like Sarah said, it's important that we tap into our inner child. And I know on my own healing journey, when I first started doing yoga nidra and doing my own inner child work, my favorite yoga nidra sessions were the inner child sessions. So in my book, you get to invite a fairy in from your own fantasy, and she takes you on a tour into your imagination. And yoga nidra is very beneficial for kids because it takes us into our learning brain. So if you have a child that's having trouble learning, you could actually read this book to them, put them in their meditative state, and then play what it is that you want them to learn, and they'll actually remember it.
Wow.
Pretty cool. Yeah, there's studies. Yeah.
That's
Yoga
so cool.
Nidra is so powerful. It's healed cancer, heart disease. People don't realize the effect that meditation can have on the body because our brain is within our body. And people don't realize that just like our pancreas, our kidneys, our liver, our heart, those organs all get sick. Our brain can get sick just the same. It just looks differently.
Yeah, ain't that the truth?
Yeah.
So we touched on what Sarah did in her past life and how she got into this and how she's going full force into this new, wonderful, abundant way of conquering, or not really conquering, but traveling through the universe together with all of us. Willow, how did you get into having your own company and going through this? You mentioned you had a master's in therapy.
Yes. So I myself was in, so it is DV Awareness Month. I do want to point that out. October is Domestic Violence Awareness Month. And I was in a domestic violence situation. I had Stockholm Syndrome. I was 16, he was 29. I'm not going to get into the details, but from there, I did finally make my way out after 2 decades. And I entered into college about a decade through and decided to be a therapist. And that actually helped me get out. So with that being said, I too went to a trauma treatment center sometime, as a therapist, and it was a holistic side, and that's where I discovered all the holistic stuff. So I moved down to Florida a year after that that really helped me catapult in my healing journey was the holistic stuff. So I too stepped out of that codependence, was able to find some self-love, and I moved down here from Pittsburgh right when COVID closed every doors of everything. So I got trained in yoga and or breath work a year later, and that was the beginning of my business shortly after that. So I studied for about a year, practiced all of my everything that I learned, practiced my teachings for a good year. And I've been a therapist now for 15 years. So yeah, I just felt that what I learned in college, I know in my own healing, talk therapy and college therapy, what you get from, your insurance company, it only took me so far. It was when I finally discovered the crystals, the meditations, the chakras, all of the holistic stuff, the sound healing, all of that stuff was when I really started to find self-love, set boundaries, break out of codependence, and start to become a whole new me. So that's where, yeah, so that all just developed, and Holistic Hippie Vibes was born. It'll be 2 years this February. So yeah, and we're in the middle of a relaunch. We learned a lot that first year, and now we're relaunching, and we're really excited to be back out here and helping supporting our community here locally, but not just locally, all over the United States, because I do have practitioners throughout the United States and growing. So.
And it's really cool. What I love about it so much is it really does take like the side of mental health and recovery and holistic and mash them together. So
Yes.
while I did get my life coach certification, I also am in the process of getting all of my clinical hours. I'm being trained as a peer recovery specialist. So I went through the training. So it's basically like I am not a therapist, but I am working with care teams. And what is so cool about a peer recovery specialist is it is someone that has, all of that training in order to work with trauma and mental health and addiction, but, knowing to stay in your lane and knowing that someone that has walked through the fire, right? There's only so much that you can learn to be book smart, but really to work with someone that has a really serious addiction and someone that knows what it's like to go through, a really long process of mental health and, deep depression and trauma, is to be a peer and someone that understands and someone that sits there with them and understands how to ask the right questions. And these are people that have doctors left and right, but it's a lot of times like someone like a peer specialist that is who gets to break through to them and gets to work with the trauma teams and the care teams. And so I really do love the coming together of these both worlds. To be able to offer our clients, that well-rounded experience.
Yeah. And that was the vision of my company is I'm trying to bring the professional side of mental health, because I'm used to following HIPAA violations, confidentiality rules, ethics, right? I have a whole thing of ethics because I do have my telehealth position through corporate world. And, so I bring that with, but also I add to the holistic. So that way my clientele knows that they're getting the holistic side of things, but they're also getting it from the approach of a professionalism within a background of mental health. My clientele, my staff have to watch HIPAA training, confidentiality training, boundary training, pride training. We are a gender affirming business as well. And I personally get pride training every month through my corporate job and have been for 2.5 years. I have a clinician coming on. She has trauma certifications, and she too has gotten that same pride training once a month. So, I'm trying to combine, because I did spend my first year of my job in that holistic world. And I'll tell you, it can be scary. I heard a lot of personal information flying around, and I'm not going to say, where that was or anything, but that's scary to me. I want my clients knowing that they come in, their information is protected in the same way that it was if they were sitting in a mental health facility.
That's awesome. So, okay, we are going to talk really soon about where everyone in Tampa Bay can see you guys
Yay!
soon. But before we get there, I want to ask you both, where can we find you guys online?
So I am on all social media under Holistic Hippie Vibes, and all of my personal or the business social media you can find on my webpage down at the bottom, and that is holistichippievibes.com.
Excellent. And Sarah, where can we find your music online other than your wonderful website?
Yeah. So I have my practitioner page that's on holistichippievibes.com. There's links to my albums, The Darkest Light, I Love You, Keep Going. You also can look for me everywhere you stream music. If you just search Sara Syms, SARASYMS. And then as far as socially, like I'm everywhere. You can pretty much just search Sara Syms. On TikTok, I started a brand new account a year ago that is like truly dedicated to just music and mental health. And my handle is sarah.sims.music. And that's where, Willow and I connected, and it was so refreshing and so nice, because I think that social media can be a very toxic experience, but all I've experienced the past year in, lining up and making friends with these amazing people is I made that really intentional, that I was like, I want this to be for good. And I want to build, a really supportive community that helps to lift each other up. And if you get those algorithms right, and you are in a place of wellness and healing and mental health and recovery, the type of people that, are going to be attracted to your page, or you are going to find, is like astronomical. I mean, I thank myself every single day. I'm like, my God, like the people that I've connected with over the past year are life changing. Like I will know these people for the rest of my lives. And it's not just like, oh, this random person I like to follow on social media. No, it's like, it is really building like a lock strong community where people are able to go and have a safe space and feel heard, that are going through some real serious things in their lives. And there are others that are around them that are going through similar things, like it's very brave. Part of my album that those two songs are from, that there were like all the songs were written while I was in residential treatment. It is very, very brave to be able to ask for the help that you need. There's so many people in this life that never really start to work on themselves, and they'll just ignore and bury their problems and shove everything under the rug. And I think a lot of times people are given, or told that people with mental health or people that are in addiction are very weak. And they are some of the strongest people that I have ever met in my life, because day in and day out, they're dealing with things that, much of the population maybe isn't struggling with. And asking for help is one of the bravest things we can do. And it's okay to not be okay. Like, the I love you, keep going is, all about the statement from a community perspective of I see you, I believe in you, I love you, keep going. But it's also a statement to yourself that you're like, hey, I can either lean into all of the negative thoughts, and the limiting beliefs of myself, or I can start to kind of fake it till I make it and say, I'm in your corner, Sarah. Like, I love you, keep going. And so that's really, I think it's twofold. Community is so important, but having your own back, through the worst days of your life is really, really, really important.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and to piggyback off of that, I want to mention Sarah and I did start what we have on TikTok every other Tuesday at 8 p.m. Eastern
Yes.
Standard Time. It's called our potluck. So it is an area, it's alive that we join with other creators in that algorithm that Sarah was talking about and in that community that we are building here on TikTok. And we just come together for about an hour, hour and a half, and we talk about, whatever intuitively comes up. And we call it the potluck because, like Sarah said, it's all these different people coming together with the commonality of mental health, but we all have something different. There's professionals, in the mental health field, there's holistic practitioners, there's spiritual readers, there's people who are none of the above, but in recovery themselves. So it's really just a potluck of everybody, and it's a fun time. So
Oh, I love it. It's like you're bringing like the mental foods to the
Yeah.
yes,
or the spiritual foods to the potluck or
Yeah.
any of it.
yes.
Everyone has their own unique perspective. Everyone has their own unique medicine to give to the world. And everyone is innately creative. And it's funny, we do start it where like what would you bring food wise? And then we ask a question of like, what is it that you are bringing spiritually or mentally to the potluck? Like, what are you struggling with today? Like, what can we help you with? Or what are you celebrating? Like, what is something that, you want to put out there and we can all just like, give you a pat on the back that you overcame this thing this week. And it is so much fun. And we joke around that we're going to buy like a fun little big van or a bus and drive around and like just pick everyone up and do this like, holistic 2-week retreat with everyone and just, get our little spiritual potluck van. And maybe that's coming. So
Yep.
Yeah.
Our next episode is October 8th at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard, or is it 8 p.m.? Sorry, Eastern Standard Time.
yes, 8 p.m.
8 p.m. Yep.
And then also on top of that, so coming up on October 12th, you guys are going to be at the Night Vibes Market. That's going to be
Yes.
at Chill Caw Fee and Riverview.
Yes.
And it looks like it starts at 6 p.m. until 9:33 p.m.
Yeah.
So have you guys been to this market before?
No, no, I am, as again, like I said, I am just relaunching. So
Mhm.
October is our launch month for getting back out there into the community. I have done some other events in the past, but I kind of put a pause on it for a while. Like I said, I took what I call a cocooning phase, what I call cocooning when you go into yourself and you process what you've learned, over whatever period, and you just kind of reflect, you grow, and then come back out, with your wings and you're flying bigger, better, and stronger.
Excellent. So what can people expect when they find you guys at the Night Vibes Market? And also, just to interrupt myself, the next day on Sunday, the 13th, you guys are going to be at the Tampa Local Market up in Wesley Chapel at Florida Avenue Brewing Company, located at 2029 Arrowgrass Drive. And that's from 12 to 4, again on Sunday, October 13th. So what are you guys going to be doing? Playing some music, playing some singing bowls, giving us hugs? What's
So
the plan?
I'll have my massage bed there, and I will be doing chakra cleanses and or spiritual readings. I will also be we'll have some of our merchandise, things like that. I'll have my books, my journals. Sarah will have her merchandise. So yeah, I personally will be doing energy cleansing and spiritual guidance, and I'm going to let Sarah speak to what she's going to be doing.
Yeah, so I'm going to play a couple sets, one at the night market and one on that Sunday. I'm going to have, all of my merch that I have just music wise. I will probably bring some, I did some custom malas for the darkest light. And they are just like beautiful stones that are stones of protection. I'll probably be doing small little like 15-minute mini life coaching sessions or just letting people know more about my services and how music can help them in their healing process. And also being very new to the holistic hippie vibes family, I will be just like letting people know about what we do and where they can, maybe have like a little mini session, but then where they can book for something greater. And I think obviously, letting people know that we are with the community of Florida in the Tampa area and helping people out with those sessions for people that are struggling from the aftermath of the hurricane.
Yes. Yeah. And also, part of the work that I do that I will also be offering, if you have any inflammation or pain, I do, again, like I said, the somatics, it can help with pain. So I do have a tuning fork that I also use. And between that and moving energy, I can help reduce, I'm not a doctor or anything, but, holistically, it does help to reduce inflammation and pain.
Okay, this is going to be a little bit of a tangent, but I have heard that different tuning forks are tuned to different frequencies. Is
Yes.
that correct?
Yes.
So you have like so what is the frequency that your tuning fork that you use?
So it's 128C, 28C. I have to go look at it, but it's the 28C, and it's for inflammation. So yeah.
That is so cool. All right, so I did have like a couple other questions for you guys, basically about like overcoming obstacles. And I feel like we've touched on that a lot already. So I think I'm going to change the last question just for both of you, whoever wants to go first. So as we wrap up this interview, thank you guys so much again for coming on with me today. What would you want to leave listeners with? If you could tell everyone in Tampa Bay or just everyone that comes across this, like what would be like the one thing that you want to leave them with today?
I mean, I can answer this. I think I can answer this first, but I feel like for me, the biggest thing that I have learned in my healing journey, not even related to music, and then I'll say something about music, but that we truly hold all the answers. And I have been in and out of therapy for like 20 years. And, you know, as a therapist, as a life coach, as, a Reiki practitioner, as whatever it is, we are there, with skills and, the ability to help guide you, but we are guides. And every aha moment I've ever had, whether it was in the 300 hours of trauma treatment or in therapy, has been because of me. The right questions were asked, but we have all of our answers. So I think as someone that has a lot struggled with reaching outside of myself for what is next or when things aren't going right, I think the biggest thing I'd like people to know is just how powerful and how much strength they have, and how whatever they want to get into, they can. And going within and really being intuitive with yourself, you have all the answers. I think that music is one of those things that can really help elevate that, whether you are singing, whether you are listening to music. Music is so healing that it is oftentimes there when we can't come up with whatever words or whatever it is that we're going through. It's like music is almost like just a super healer. And it can transcend therapy. It can transcend, anything that is like given to you as, a word of advice or something. So I think the two things are people are way more powerful than they think. They have all the answers, and that music is healing AF. And, find the way that music fits into your life. And try some different things with music. And there's so many things that I would love to help people out with. And I'd love for them to book like a consultation, a 15-minute free consultation to find out how music can help them along their healing journey.
Awesome. Okay, Willow.
Thank you, Sarah. So again, it is October, so I'm going to stick to the topic of domestic violence and trauma in families right now. So if I can get out anything right now, and I'm going to cry because domestic violence holds true to my heart, please know there is help available. You can go to your local women's center and they can connect you. Even if you don't need a shelter, they still offer services. They can connect you with the supportive services that you need to help get you into a safe place. You're not alone, and there is help available. And I know the struggle of getting out. And the thing that I hear all the time is, why doesn't she just leave? Or why doesn't he just leave? Or they just leave? It's not that easy. And, because we have to remember that along, with domestic violence comes control, manipulation, gaslighting, and all the things. And our mental health can get so chipped away that we lose any self-worth that we have. And I know what it's like, and I know why you don't leave. We are a place to help you process through that and, until you're ready. But if you are in danger, please reach out to your local shelter. Don't just leave. Reach out to your local shelter. They will guide you on how to do that because unfortunately, sometimes it is dangerous to tell them, hey, I'm leaving. So if you are in a domestic violence situation, please reach out to your local shelter and get help. Holistic Hippie Vibes is there to help with the other side, whenever you do get to that other side. And we're here to help you all the way, but I want to help break trauma patterns in families. And I feel that's what my calling is here. That is what my gift from my creator is to be that, like Sara said, you do the work, you have it within you. We just help you unlock that. And I want to show parents, families, children, teens, adults, whoever comes in my path, just how to be able to do that. And yeah, and just spread that peace, light, and love so that we can start to break trauma patterns in this country. And, I guess the one thing that I really want to say is think about, that Christmas is coming up. Christmas songs are going to start to play. There's a very famous Christmas song that was written in, I want to say 50s or 60s. And it shows you our country and how we are taught to stuff our emotions. And the words say, you better watch out. You better not cry. You better not pout. I'm telling you why. You're not going to get gifts for Christmas. So just that one song teaches us as a culture to stuff our emotions. Why? Because I'm not comfortable with your emotions. So I'm going to teach you to stuff them, whether that's you're my child and I love you so much and I don't want to see you hurt. So I accidentally coddle you and teach you to stuff them. Or I just don't want to deal with it. So I'm going to send you away. And now that sends a message that it's not important. So if we can begin to accept that feelings are just that, they're meant to be felt. Every time we stuff an emotion, we store it in our body through, I call it like a little backpack, right? And we carry it with us until we finally release it. And that's what our services help you do. We help you start to unpack all of that stuff that you were taught from our culture to stuff down.
That is truly powerful from you both. So
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Willow Hughes of Holistic Hippie Vibes, Sara Syms, Sara Syms, singer-songwriter, and also of Holistic Hippie Vibes. They will be at the Night Vibes Market in Riverview, Saturday, October 12th. Then Sunday at the Tampa Local Market at Florida Avenue Brewing up there in Wesley Chapel.
Yeah. And I personally, Sarah's only here for the weekend, but I personally, or also my other clinician, Damasha, we're going to be at some other upcoming events here in the Tampa Bay area, including a cancer walk at the end of the month. And then the Hippie, the creator of the market, Night Vibes, we're also doing another market. It's like a Halloween one. And so just go to my events page and all of our events are listed there.
Awesome.